everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is a recap video on my recent trip to Honolulu, Oahu in Hawaii. I head back to go to bed. The next day I woke up early and caught a ride to a rainforest. Check out another rainbow here. And as the name mentions, it is literally a rainforest. They claim that it rains about 70, maybe to 80% of the time, almost daily at this rainforest, and that is why everything is so lush and green there. They filmed a bunch of different movies here as well, because how can you not, with all of these huge trees and big leaves that just keep spiraling up each of the trunks. The exotic flowers and the amounts of animals that live here naturally are just amazing to watch and listen to. And of course, while we were arriving, it started pouring, but it was alright because it was warm, tropical weather, and it added to another level of experience for the hike. There were waterfalls down these little creeks and rivers, and I believe all of this water carries out into the ocean eventually.
Well, this is bamboo.
So the waterfall was about a mile or so to the top of the hill, and I stopped a lot along the way because there were different regions of plants that were planted along the way. One of which was bamboo, which grows super fast and super tall and in different colors. And the vines just look so unreal. They are literally the epitome of nature and organic shapes. And although there are thousands of them, or millions even, no two grow alike. Check out this little green frog that I caught hopping up the mountain with us. Upon reaching the waterfall, it was rushing down the rock in a pretty consistent stream. It was tough not to look away from it and just bask yourself in the showering sounds of the entire space. That's also kind of why I left the ambient sound here in this part, because it's just so quiet and you can hear every single drop fall onto the ground, the way your shoes shift the pebbles underneath your feet, and the way that birds are communicating high up in the canopies that are multiple feet above you, shading you from the rain. I feel like this is what the world would look like if humans were extinct, because life will still continue through other animals and evolving plants that will just come back and take over. It's so amazing how you can excavate or blow up a site or dig out roots of a surface level of a parking lot or a plot of land or a farm agriculture site, and the roots of other plants or the seeds that fall from winds or wings of birds will repopulate and regrow something else, something different or something the same in the environment, and it will always just grow back as long as there's water and sunlight she will grow back. On the bright side of things, humans do have a tendency to take care of things when they are in a healthy state of mind. It gives them positive reinforcement in their lives and just a general well-being that they are able to succeed in growing stuff that can potentially either help them live by nourishing them through food or nourishing their souls through spiritual and physical appreciation of the natural beauty of the world. This is why I also use tree planting search engines. I am adamant about recycling and reusing as much as possible, saving water, having a 2-step irrigation process within my own home with watering my own plants if I can. And so I think it's just really important to remember that there's a much bigger picture than the world that you're just living, but also the responsibility and dedication we should have to the environment and the world around us that houses us and helps feed us. I think when I remember that I do my part and I'm able to appreciate nature where other people have also taken care of the land, like here in Hawaii, it really just makes it so much more wonderful. The feeling inside of yeah, humanity is doing something. Humanity is okay, and the world's gonna be okay as long as we keep this up. The walk back down was actually a lot quicker, as the return of a journey usually is. But our meeting spot was at a different location, and so we got to actually pass Lion Arboretum on the way, go up to a visitor center area, and experience some chickens and a kitten before heading out for the day. It was already past noon when we arrived back into the city, and I really wanted to try spam musubi and how the locals in Hawaii made them. So I looked up the highest rated place, and a spam musubi cafe popped up. There was already a line, and it took me about 20 minutes to get an order out, but everything was super fresh. The rice was so soft and fluffy, and the fillings actually took up a lot of the centers, and overall the seasoning was really delicious and clean, not too oily. While eating, I was able to head to Kualoa Ranch once again. Today I was going to be driven around in a Jeep. This exhibition was going to be a little bit different, where it was more nature forward. A lot of the things that we expect to see on the ranch are movie based, and that's not to say we're not going to do that today as well. However, it was all about the high vantage views. We didn't see any pigs here today, but we did see a lot of cows. Cows are actually great for the environment here on the ranch. However, if you're a carnivore, you would be able to purchase both beef and pork at their market every week, in addition to the seafood that they catch. One of the biggest highlights on these tours is the view. Because you are high up in elevation, you can literally look down onto the ocean and see how beautiful and blue and vast the Pacific is. Of course, what is a Jeep expedition without stopping by a couple of movie sites? So we got to see the helicopter crash that was used in King Kong Skull Island, and of course, Jurassic World. If you guys saw my community post here on YouTube, you guys know that I actually saw Jurassic World when it first came out in 4D, which means that the seats move around while you're watching the movie in a theater with 3D glasses on. This was the last time that I was actually in the Philippines, and I miss it very much. That's another tropical place that I have on the top of my list when travel is readily available once again, internationally. After taking a few photos of this styrofoam set, I found these really beautiful pink flowers that fell on the ground from this tree, and I picked up a really pretty blossom that was still fresh and just kept it in my ear until I got back to the hotel so that I could press it into my scrapbook. After the ranch, it was time to go to the Polynesian Cultural Center. As I mentioned before, I really wanted to learn more about not just Hawaii, but a lot of the other surrounding islands that are within the Polynesian Triangle. I learned that this triangle was made up of Hawaii, Easter Island, aka Rapa Nui, and all the way to Tonga, which is right on the other side of Fiji. This also included the Cook Islands, which is right outside of New Zealand, where the Maori people are from. So we have the Tonga, Maori, Hawaii, Fiji, Samoa, Tahiti, Tuvaluan, Tokelauan. The last two, I think, are sub-regions of Oceania. So the Polynesian Cultural Center is actually divided by these Polynesian countries, and each of them have their own demonstrations on what their culture is most known for, such as learning poi, if you guys know the flow arts, which is what my Goddess Mara channel is based off of. You might recognize some of the techniques that are used here, as well as in, vlogging. While I was researching, I recognized that there was one of the biggest luau's that happened here. And unfortunately, because I booked only a month and a half in advance, they were literally sold out all the way through November, which was really surprising. But I decided that I was going to go elsewhere for an authentic luau this time around. I took the last boat from one end of the center to the other while listening to a fellow kababayan person, aka a person from the Philippines, that gave a quick tour of the place, as well as some funny jokes. I did get there a little late since I was doing the Jeep exhibition, so I wasn't able to see a lot of performances, and I kind of had to rush around the center and on the islands. So I highly suggest that you come here earlier in the day when it first opens, and that way you'll be able to take your time and really learn about each of the countries. But I was still able to appreciate the architectures, the handmade huts. Check out the rope work here. It's super neat, and that's kind of what I like to see, especially since, I'm a fan of Kimbaku and Shibari, and everything was literally built by hand, including these boats, which is pretty awesome. I really liked the open format of each of these spaces. It really felt like a real village. And unfortunately, the place closed at around 5 to 5:30, and that was the time when people would start heading over to the main hall for a buffet for the luau. It smelled really good, but it was time for me to head back to eat dinner. This is a guy who invented the shaka, the thumb and the pinky hand wave, and it was actually because he had lost his 3 fingers, the 3 long fingers in between, and it just became a thing that stuck around with the locals. The sunset on the drive back was, of course, phenomenal, with these saturated clouds complementing the waves and mountains. I originally wanted to try to eat at this market that was close to the place that I was staying at, but everything was so busy that I decided to go off the strip for some Japanese food at Zigu. The dinner was tasty, however, I don't know if I would come back here if they were going to give very dainty portions for the price. After that, it was time to return to the hotel and get ready for another day.